Well, another year, another Terraria video. Sorry this video took so long. We started recording part 2 earlier, but then burnout hit like a truck. So here we are, 2 months in the making, and it's finally here. Terraria Calamity Yoyos Only, part 2. In this video, we're going to tackle all of hard mode. Now, before we start the video, I want to ask you, do you enjoy my content, but are upset with the time it takes in between uploads? If you said yes, then I have good news for you. I have a Twitch that I've been streaming on for a few months now, and we'd love for you to come hang out with us. We're in the process of changing our streaming hours, but if you want to get notified of streams and uploads, then you could also join the Discord. Links for both will be in the description. Shameless plug over, enjoy the video. We start off right where we left off, having taken down the wall of flesh, and get to work making our first yo-yo called the Yin-Yo. The Yin-Yo is made of a dark shard and light shard, dropped by dark and light mummies. So while I went to the Hallow, Josh took on the Crimson. After about 10 minutes, we got our shards and crafted our Yin-Yos. But that's not what you're here to see. You're here to see some bosses. Boom! Queen Slime emerged from the depths of the Hallow, and we started hitting her with our yo-yos. The Queen Slime is very similar to the King Slime, but buffed. She jumps around spawning slimes and shooting out balls of slime as well. It seems like a pretty easy boss fight until she starts flying. That's right, this ball of slime just decided to grow a pair of wings mid-boss fight. But even with her wings and projectiles, we were able to take her down. You wanted bosses? We'll give you some bosses. Next, we ran to the ice biome to take down Cryogen. Now, I will admit, I have a not-so-great history with Cryogen. He is super tanky and shoots tiny ice shards that blend in with the background. After a pretty quick loss, we decided to place an NPC house with a bed in it to respawn right in the boss fight. And after a very close call, we defeated the giant clump of ice. After Cryogen fell, a blizzard started, so we decided to stay in the snow to farm up some ice feathers, which would allow us to make wings. But the bosses don't stop there. Next on the roster was the Destroyer, a huge metal worm that shot lasers and probes out to damage us. Now the boss isn't too horrible to dodge, but the problem is, he has a ton of health. You see that? 145,000 health. And we're only in expert mode. In master mode, he gets even more health. But despite our odds, we were able to tear down the giant worm. Oh, but the bosses must stop there. Surely they'll take a break after this. Wrong. Now we're fighting a pair of eyeballs that shoot lasers and breathe fire. Now the twins have significantly less health compared to the Destroyer, but to make up for it, they each have their own separate health bar. We tried to take down the eyes at the same time, then kill Spasmatism first because Retinizer is easier to deal with on its own. But when the adrenaline calls, you must answer. Surely, they're done with bosses now, and they'll do something else. To those of you asking that, I say, yeah, we are. At this point, our world has acquired all the vanilla hard mode ores. So I went down in the mines and took on the grind of getting cobalt and making a cobalt pickaxe, then mining orichalcum and making an anvil and another pickaxe, then heading down again to get enough titanium for a forge, 2 pickaxes, and 2 sets of titanium armor. If that sounds like a lot of mining, that's because it is. Why do I do it? Because I'm a masochist. We then took the time to make a new yo-yo out of cryonic bars called the Shimmer Spark. We also made some Daedalus armor and tested it against the titanium armor just to find out that it's better and we didn't need to mine all that titanium. But that's what Terraria is all about, right? Spending an ungodly amount of time on something just to replace it a few minutes later. Now it was time to take on Skeletron Prime, the last of the mechanical bosses. Skeletron Prime works much like Skeletron, where it's a skeleton with arms and the goal is to take down the head. However, when you take down Skeletron Prime's hands, his defense doesn't drop at all. So is there a point in taking out his hands? Well, sorta. His hands are where most of his attacks come from, so taking them out will allow us to dodge far easier. So we took down Skeletron's hands and beat the crap out of his head. With the final mech boss down, we were finally able to get hollowed bars. We made pickaxe axes with the bars and made our way over to the Sulphuric Sea. At the Sulphuric Sea, we took on the Aquatic Scourge, another worm boss that shoots projectiles. Wow. What else is new? While we were fighting it, we discovered a bug where when either of us died, it would only take 3 seconds to respawn us instead of 15. So of course, we used that to our advantage. After the Aquatic Scourge, we went down to hell to take on another boss called the Brimstone Elemental. Was this boss essential to progression? No, not in the slightest. But I had an item that I wanted to make that she was required for. So after shitting on the Brimstone Elemental, we went up to the sky to do the same on some cloud elementals. What's this item I'm making? I'm not gonna say. It's better if you see for yourself. Next up, we went to the jungle and tried our hand at Plantera. We decided that we could just recycle our old Queen Bee arena and save some time. But that didn't last long. You know what? Building arenas are for nerds. So we decided to take on Calamitas Clone instead. Calamitas Clone is a very unique fight that features dodging phases. In these phases, the boss doesn't take any damage, and we are swarmed by projectiles. Calamitas Clone also has a phase where it summons 2 weaker clones to fight for it. All in all, this is a super fun fight, and one that we managed to win first try. Calamitas Clone dropped me a new yo-yo called the Oblivion, which absolutely demolishes enemies. I used this yo-yo to fight it again to get one for Josh. Okay, fine. I guess we'll expand our arena. After doubling the size of our arena, we decided it was good enough and challenged Plantera again. With all the space available to us, we died again. Okay, that must have been a fluke. I'm sure if we fight it again, we'll be able to... Dead. Okay, one last idea. We're gonna put that NPC house in with the bed so that we can respawn here when we die. Dead. But this time, it wasn't us. We took out Plantera, baby! Let's go! Killing Plantera gave us access to a new ore called Perennial, which at an anvil would make a brand new yo-yo. The Quagmire. With the Quagmire, we kept going in the jungle and found the temple, which we could now open. At the end of the temple was a room where we could spawn our next boss, Golem. Now, Golem is known in the Terraria community for being a huge pushover. He is way too weak for where he's placed in the game. When the Calamity devs saw this, they figured they couldn't let that stand, and holy shit did they buff him. Golem now has brand new projectiles that take forever to go away and do so much more damage. And it doesn't help that we got a glitch where his fists would just randomly disappear. I will never make fun of how weak Golem is again. After finally killing Golem, I went down into the depths of the Sulphuric Sea to get our next set of armor, Scoria armor. This armor is a bitch and a half to get with all of the enemies down there, but I managed to get 2 sets and 2 yo-yos called the Fault Line. With our new gear, we headed to the normal ocean and challenged Duke Fishron. And when I say Duke Fishron was bad, I mean he was bad. We didn't even beat him. Duke moves so fast and does so much damage, and our yo-yos are not cut out for that. Luckily, Duke isn't necessary to progress, so we decided to say screw it and move on. But hey, maybe if we reach 30 likes on the video, we'll take out all the bosses we didn't fight in this video. Instead of Duke Fishron, we decided to stick to the ocean and fight Anahita and the Leviathan. Remember when we fought the Brimstone Elemental and Cloud Elemental, and I didn't tell you what it was for? Yeah, this is for that as well. After Anahita, we made our way to the Astral Biome to take on Astrum Aureus. Right now, we're just checking whatever bosses we can off the checklist. Did we kill him? We sure did. Did he drop anything of note? Nope. Moving on. We went to the desert with a couple of sand elemental summoners. This boss drops the last 2 items I need for the thing I haven't told you guys about. So after a little bit of grinding, I was finally ready to make it. So I put all the items into the magic storage, looked it up. Did you put everything in there? Did you put it all in there? How the fuck do you make the heart of... Oh my god. Wait. Ancient Manipulator, I believe. God fucking damn it. And oh my god, we need an Ancient Manipulator to make it. So I dragged Josh over to the dungeon and made him fight the Lunatic Cultist with me. When the Lunatic Cultist dies, it spawns 4 pillars around the world, which all have enemies at it. When you take down all 4 of the pillars, it summons the Moonlord, the final boss of hard mode. So is this worth it for just the 1 item that I wanted to make? Absolutely. But in the end, he dropped the Ancient Manipulator, and I was finally able to craft my prize, which I have dubbed the Waifus. Now that I've given you the name, you still can't see them. We're going to keep that for the end of the video. Next up, we set our eyes on the Plaguebringer Goliath, who would drop another yo-yo called the Pandemic. So we made our way to the jungle, taking down a pillar on the way, and summoned in the Goliath. Much like how Queen Slime is just an upgraded King Slime, the Plaguebringer Goliath is an upgraded Queen Bee, and my god is it upgraded. The Plaguebringer dashes at you and summons tons of smaller enemies to attack you, finishing off its fight with homing missiles. This boss took us a few tries. When we finally took it down, I didn't get the yo-yo. But by selling the drops I did get, I was able to buy another treasure bag, and this time, got my hands on it. We then took on the Ravager. The Ravager is a very odd boss, working much like Golem in how you have to defeat specific body parts. But he also spawns huge pillars that jump around with it. The Ravager isn't a tough boss fight at all, but it can drop some pretty useful stuff like the Blood Pact, which increases your max HP and healing potion effectiveness. After that fight, we weren't really sure what to do. We thought about and attempted Astrum Aureus, but it was clear to us that we weren't ready for that. So we figured it was time to bite the bullet and fight the Moonlord. Again, if you're disappointed that we didn't fight bosses like Duke Fishron and Astrum Aureus, then again, 30 likes and we'll do it. We took on the remaining 3 pillars and waited for the Moonlord to spawn. Nope, fuck you, said the Moonlord, who decided to spawn instantly. Since we weren't at our arena, we were at a huge disadvantage when he spawned prematurely, causing us to die. We used some of the fragments that were dropped by each pillar and crafted his summoner. The Moonlord was an absolute tank, with just over 400,000 health that our Yoyos were just not meant to deal with, so the fight was very slow going. Fighting Moonlord nearly took us half an hour to beat, with little to no breaks in between each time summoning him, but eventually, his core opened, and we were able to take him out. Now, I won't make you wait any longer. Here's the item that I crafted so long ago and haven't shown you. Baby. You know what's getting put on? The waifus, baby!
Oh my god.
Neither of us got the weapon! No! Unfortunately, neither one of us got the Terrarian in our treasure bags, and really didn't want to fight the Moonlord again. So I decided to buy another treasure bag, where thankfully, I got it. Now we both have Terrarians and are ready to take on the final third of the game, post-Moonlord. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and let me know what you thought in the comments. We were genuinely amazed by how well the last video was received and are so eager to make more content for you guys. And as I said, production on these videos takes a long time, so please do check out the streams and the Discord. Recently, I've been streaming a vanilla Master Mode hardcore playthrough, and would love for you guys to experience it with me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.